Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck tech, and if you watched my video from yesterday you'll know what we're covering this week. And I think I said at the end of that video, even though from your time it's 24 hours ago that came out, to my time it's like 24 seconds ago that I finished recording it, I'm going to be covering a Clavileno, the first of the blessed. This is one of the commanders that is coming to via treasure chests, and it's a nice one. I quite like this as a vampire cleric. One black and white for a 2/2 vampire cleric. We've been there before. And whenever you attack, target attacking vampire that isn't a demon becomes a demon in addition to its other types. It gains when this creature dies, draw a card and create a tapped 4/3 white and black vampire drag demon creature token with flying. Right, so let me get this right. This cleric is cursing his vampires. I mean, I don't know the story. I honestly don't know. I haven't read any of it. So if I've got this wrong, I'm sorry for all the lore lovers. He's cursing his vampires so that when they snuff it, they become demons that are a hell of a lot bigger and more powerful than they were before. Okay, then. Right. And you get a card draw and a 4/3. Where's the downside to this? Can't see a downside to this at all. And I've been looking for one, believe me. When I was building this deck, I was looking for one. So this is the first of the LCI commander cards I'm really going to aim to try and pick up on MtGO as soon as possible so I can play this deck. And as I said in the video, well, I don't know if I'd said in the video now, but I might have changed it. What I'm going to try and do is build these commanders based on the cards that are available on MtGO at the moment or are coming via the treasure chests where Daybreak have programmed them in. So here we go. Instead of me stumbling over words, let's look at the deck. Obviously, I'm doing this before the cards have come out on MtGO, so we're back here using one of the wonderful things. You can probably tell by the symbol up here. I'm on Goldfish, where I put all my deck lists. So here we go. Here's how I'm going to build Clavileno as soon as it becomes available on MtGO. Obviously, Clavileno, we don't know the prices yet. Tabletop, we do. So actually, I'll leave the tabletop prices in for this one instead of looking at the tickets. So, Sky March Aspirant, I'll have the 1-drop vampire. Might as well try and get this in and up and running as soon as possible. Amelia Benavides Aguirre is one of the new ones from the main set. It's got 2/2 for 2 mana, black and white. It has... moved off. Ward 3, and whenever you gain life, Amelia Benavides explores and then destroy all other creatures if its power is exactly 20. Okay, get a little bit of exploring when you gain life. Cope with that. Not a bad plan. Another one from the main set is Bartolomeo del Presidio. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on Bartolomeo. Okay, sacrifice outlet if we need it. Maybe. Because we have got Blood Artists in the deck, so it does give us a way of getting rid of things and gaining some life and people losing things. Cordial Vampire comes in as well. Because if you are going to be sacking your vampires off to Bartolomeo, you also put some +1/+1 counters on every other vampire you control. Sounds like a plan to me. Cruel Celebrant does the same thing, gives a little bit of life swinging, a bit like Blood Artless does. Dusk Legion's Sergeant is one of the cards that is getting programmed in from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And this is a nice one. Sacrifice the Sergeant. Each non-token vampire creature you control gains persist until the end of turn. If you think someone is going to Wrath of God and blow your board up, it's worth keeping 1 and a black up to sacrifice this off so you get those persist triggers happening, so you get all your creatures back. Really good fun. Dust Legion Zealot comes in from the original Ixalan set, so we can draw a card, lose a life. Likewise, Legion Lieutenants here as well. This was originally available from back in the day. I think it was from the original Ixalan. It's been reprinted, hence why you've got the reprint symbol on here, but +1/+1 to all your vampires. Drana, Liberator of Malachi, is also here. First strike, and when it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So it makes your attacking vampires even bigger as things progress. Eldane's Hierophant, again a new card that's been programmed in from the Commander set here on when it comes on MtGO. So yeah, flying 1/1 when you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and when it dies, you get all those nice 1/1 white vampire creature tokens where with lifelink X number of them, where X is the Elandra's Hierophant's power as it dies. Mervyn, Fane, Dusk Apostle is also here. Whenever one or more non-token vampires you control attack, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. Have to have your blockers come back. Midnight Assassin, just from Streets of New Copernicus. I wanted a bit of death touch, and this is flying, so it makes it even better. Preacher of the Schism is also in from the Commander set. And when it attacks the player with the most life or tied for the... No, this is the main set, sorry. When it attacks the player with the most life or the main tied for the most life, get a 1/1 vampire creature token with lifelink. And when it attacks, you may have them... And when Preacher of the Schism attacks, while you have the most life or are tied for the most life, you may draw a card and lose a life. Okay. It's a 2/4 for 3 mana that has Death Touch. Ignore all the other text I just read out. But a 3 mana 2/4 Death Touch, yes please. I'll play that all day long. Seguin, Evangelist has Battle Cry, which is an interesting, we flow back to an old mechanic. So whenever this creature attacks, every other creature attacking gets +1/+0. And when it enters the battlefield or dies, we get a 1/1 bat. So, okay. Veto, the Thorn of the Dusk Rose, had to be here really, didn't it? It's the traditional one of the main vampires you see a lot still on MtGO. 5 mana, 3 in double black, give all your creatures lifelink, and whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Okay then. We all know what it does. It upsets people. The Bloodletter of Akazalta is also in from the main set. Flying, if an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Damage causes loss of life. Yep, still a vampire though. Vampire demon, but still a vampire. The Bloodline Keeper's here. Try and get it transformed as quickly as possible when we've got 5 vampires in play, so we can give everything +2/+2 and just tap it to make more 4/4s, because, you know, 2/2 vampire tokens with +2/+2 become 4/4s. Alandra, the Dusk Rose. Well, we all know what this does. Creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. When she dies, you get a whole load of vampires equal to its power with lifelink. They're 1/1s. Okay. Felisa, Fang of Silverquill, comes in. I think Felisa was originally in the School of Strixhaven. I may be wrong. But this one's nice. It's got Mentor, and when a creature dies, we control that. If it wasn't a token, you get a 2/1 token, Inkling. Yeah. Where capped where X was the number of counters it had on it. Now we should be getting +1/+1 counters on some of the vampires, but it's still a 3/2 vampire that's got flying and mental, and the mental will put the +1/+1 counters around if we needed to, so it's all good. Mondrake, a Glory Dominus, so we're going to be making a lot of tokens. I figured this one had a home here. It's one of the few non-vampires in the deck, but it's worth having this one here. The Phyrexians get everywhere. Sanctum Seeker, whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain a life. Bishop of Rebirth returns, when it attacks, returns anything with power mana value 3 or less to the battlefield. Bloodlord of Vassig gives all our vampires Bloodthirsty 3, so that's pretty nice. Carmen, Cruel Sky Marcher, is also here. I did try and work out if I could do both of the vampire face cards as separate decks, and it really didn't work out. So Carmen appears in this one for Clavileno, however we're going to pronounce his name, which I don't know. I quite like this one. Whenever a player sacrifices an opponent, you put a +1/+1 counter on Carmen and gain a life. Okay then. And whenever Carmen attacks, return up to 1 target permanent card. Notice it's a permanent card, not artifact or anything else. So there's probably a combo deck with Carmen somewhere, but I haven't worked out yet. But you get to return it from the battlefield, from the graveyard to the battlefield. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Drana, the Last Blood Chief. Defending player chooses a non-legendary card in your graveyard. You put it back into play with a +1/+1 counter on it, and it's a vampire. Yep. Malkiel, the Blood Witch, has pro white, flying, enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses life equal to the number of vampires you control, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Win card. Have a whole load of vampires in play. Get your opponents all down a little bit. This comes in. You probably win the game there and then. Queen Bay's Butcher, another one of the new programmed in cards. Enters the battlefield attacks. Return up to 1 target vampire card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. You use life equal to its mana value. Finality counters, if you don't know, are a new counter they're bringing in. Remember when they used to have these things saved? Remember it, and when it goes to graveyard, exile it instead. Finality is now the key phrase they've introduced in this set to represent that. So anything with finality counter on it, instead of going to the graveyard, will go to the exile zone, the end. Vona, Butcher of Magdan, had to go back to the original Ixalan set for this, just so we had some sort of like Vigilance, Lifelink, and a little bit of Pay 7, Destroy Anything. The other non-vampire is in the deck is Oja Tag, Deepest Foundation. Obviously, I did a whole deck tech on this the other week, but I think it sits in this deck nicely. You know, tripling your token production's very nice. Thank you. It's a vampire deck. Had to play Sengir. We all know who Sengir was. If you don't, shame on you. But yeah, the Dark Baron is here just to make it even bigger. And whenever another player loses a game, you gain life equal to that life player's total as the turn began. So yeah, thank you. Vishkal, a Blood Arbiter, is also here. Another way of sacrificing creatures off we need him to. And we do get to remove all the +1/+1 counters to give something -1/-1 for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. It's very confusing. But yeah, nice little combo. And finally, Order of the Sacred Dusk. The last of the... the last of the commander cards that are being programmed in that I think fit in the vampire deck. Order of the Sacred Dusk is expensive, 6 and white and black, so 8 mana, but it has got Convoke, so you can get the cost down quite a bit. It has Flying, Lifelink and Haste. Once you get it in play, you are going to be hitting for 5 in the air straight away. And it's got Exalted, and it gives all your other vampires Exalted. Yeah, this could be a one-shot pony to kill someone off. So it basically attacks as a 6/6, and if you've got any other vampires, as long as they're not attacking, and you just have this attacking on its own, all those other vampires are going to trigger and give this +1/+1 a lot. Yeah, that's pretty good. As you can imagine, it has some planeswalkers. It's the Sorens, so this one produces the vampires, and then you get the emblem. I recommend the Lord of Innistrad instantly gives you the emblem. The Solemn Visitor, you can do the whole +1 and lifelink. That's fine. +1/+0 and lifelink to the end of the turn. The Bloodlord, you can just ping something and gain the life, so that's pretty cool. The Grim Nemesis, reveal the top card, put that in your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to its mana value. Yep, cope with that. And the Vampire Lord, the pure black one. I've included there's a bit of removal. 4 damage to any target and we gain 4 life is quite nice. If we can get the -8 up and nick everyone else's creatures, even better for us. Damnation, Wrath of God, just a bit of control. We have Blade of the Blood Chief because we are playing an artifact deck. We are playing an artifact deck? No, we're playing a vampire deck. So we might also have this artifact in because it does help our vampires get even bigger. Then we've got the usual selection of ramps. So Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Hierarchy are here. So not too much, but the majority of what I'd want to play. Jet Medallion, Pearl Medallion also here. I count them as ramp. Then we have Lightning Greaves and the Boots to protect our commander. But the 2 things I will point out, if I put them in, I did put them in. Lithothorm Engine and Stronic Resonator. You're probably wondering why these are here. Because Clavileno has the word whenever, which means they can be classed as a triggered ability, which means you can copy it. So, Clavileno, you get another, whenever you attack, target attacking vampire that isn't a demon becomes a demon. If you're attacking with 2 vampires that aren't demons, you can pay your 2, wherever it's gone, copy the trigger, get 2 more demons. Might get a couple of cards, a couple of 4/3s. Nice. Same with Lithothorm Engine, or you can do the whole copy the target permanent spell if you need to, or the instant sorcery spell. The other 2 things, Herald Horn, because why wouldn't you play it if you're playing a vampire tribal deck? You might as well get the cost down a little bit. And the Obelisk of... Sorry, I just keep yawning, so I have no idea why. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. Okay, cope with that. Enchantment wise, not too much. A couple of things I will point out. Legion's Landing gives us a 38th land eventually. If you know what it does, you do. Ooh, once I get it to load, there you go. Comes into play as an enchantment, gives us a 1/1 vampire, white vampire with lifelink. And then when we attack with 3 or more creatures, it flips over to the first fort and gives us an ability to create 1/1 vampires quite regularly. The Feast of the Victorious Dead just made sense here. This comes from the Aftermath set. At the beginning of your end step, if one or more creatures die this turn, you gain that much life and distribute that many +1/+1 counters. Okay then. Etchings of the Choosing. Choose vampire, pump all your vampires up, and you get sacrifice a creature for the chosen type. A target creature you control gains indestructible until the end of the turn, which could be useful. Profane Procession gives us a little bit of repeated removal we can use, and eventually becomes a useful land. Anointed Procession. There's a lot of tokens. Yeah, sorry, we had to have that here. Same with Smothering Tide, really. Why would you not play Smothering Tide at the moment? Don't like this artwork, though. Bit annoyed that it picked this one up, but hey, whatever. Cathar's Crusade, you always need to have this in. Another great way of putting +1/+1 counters around. Nearly as good as doing it with Virtue of Loyalty. At least you always know you're going to get some +1/+1 somehow. Ethereal Absolution pumps our creatures, makes all opponents' creatures smaller, and then we get to do spirit tokens if we need them. And the Virtue of Persistence, a nice way of returning things at the beginning of our upkeep. Put a target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Yeah, not quite as easy to kill as our favourite Phyrexian who does this is, but yeah, it's still there. Mana wise, just a whole load of black-white lands. You can imagine you don't have to pay the gates. I like playing the gates, as you know. I am playing Field of the Dead because I do want to make sure we have a fairly reliable source of creatures, and that's it. Nothing else you would not expect to see in this deck here. Obviously, Unclaimed Territories here, along with Secluded Courtyard, where we choose Vampire. I am playing the Ballistica just because I think it's quite cool, and I haven't played the bounce lands for a while. You can drop Marsh Flats if you haven't got that, or Field of the Dead. Bear that in mind. Godless Shrine, they can all come out if you need to. But it's not bad, and this is where I think we're going to see Clavileno play on MtGO. I hope you've enjoyed the deck tech. Again, if you buy it in real life, you've got the paper one, you've probably got a lot better version. You can do a lot more with it. I am purely going with what we've got on MtGO. So that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back tomorrow with another deck take. Take care. See you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.